As with any sponsored video, we give away a copy. So all you have to do is leave comments, tickle buttons, please the algorithm, and hopefully I'll do my job and tell you all about the game. If you didn't hear, an amazing subscriber on the channel has given us a Zelda Nintendo Switch OLED to give away at Christmas time, which is just ridiculously generous, and then also didn't want to be named. It really is an honour from Glen and I. You're amazing. Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to another of our addictive games series. This is a collaboration between myself and Asdin. He was playing through for a review on XP Corner, and I've been playing it to make this video. So I've got his thoughts as well, but I have got a lot to say about this one. It is ridiculously addictive, follows on from games like Hades, and if you're susceptible to that formula, then you may wish to look away right now. So what's it all about? Well, let's find out. The story goes that in their search for the fabled Holy Grail for Merlin, the Knights of the Round Table released the destructive Void Giant. As you do, King Arthur and his knights were unable to defeat it, and they suffer heavy losses. Now Merlin rocks up and tries to fix things with a spell, but he completely ballses it up, and the whole kingdom gets transported, as well as the giant. If at first you don't succeed, try again. He goes and resurrects King Arthur, and then sets him off to defeat the Void Giant's soul. It's unsurprising that the hub area of this one is Camelot. It starts out in a right old state, with areas in ruins, walls crumbling down, and none of the facilities available. It's from this hub area that you'll be able to choose different skills from the Knights of the Round Table that you've unlocked. These can be seen in the middle of the area. For example, I could take the melee attack from one and the ranged from the other, and the more you use individual skills, the more you'll get upgrades when you unlock that shop. Now, very much like Hades, this moves from room to room. When you're out on a run, the doors will close, it will fill with enemies, and you have to eradicate all of them. The order of the day is at 60 frames per second smooth gameplay, dodge rolling your way out of the area, and it's one where red indicators are shown on the ground so you can see exactly where you need to avoid so that you don't take damage. Knights vs Giant is all about precision, your own precision movements, as well as the precision placement of the main protagonist, that being Arthur himself. For me, a roguelite lives and dies on its controls, and as you can probably tell from the footage, it's incredibly responsive, and it does everything in its power to avoid you wasting your time. For example, you can click the right stick in, this will bring up a map, and you can simply select any of the rooms you've previously visited and teleport instantly to them. It saves a load of painful backtracking and means you can thoroughly explore each area. Now, just as with some of my favourites like the Binding of Isaac, you'll come across lots of different room types. Some of them will be shops, others will offer Pan Piper challenges, which will see you trying to survive for a period of time against hordes of enemies, and if you can do so, you'll be rewarded with a nice little bounty from a treasure chest. And there's even a character that will offer you the curse reward system we saw in Curse of the Dead Gods, that being taking on a curse but also gaining a perk, and you don't get told what that's going to be, so there is a little element of chance there. While you won't find any health pickups in these areas, what you will find are fountains, hopefully, that will restore your health back to full. Sometimes it's worth just leaving those and restoring your health after you've fought the boss, as you can then enter the next area with a nice chunky health bar. Now, any roguelite in the world uses one system of progression, and those are upgrades you'll get out on the run. Here they are found at the different statues of those Knights of the Round Table, giving you the classic 3 different options. They seem to range in potency and might affect your critical damage, the amount of things you can shoot, or your overall damage. These aren't the only upgrades you'll get though, but I did notice that it felt a little bit like Vampire Survivors in some ways as well. There were much more focused weapon upgrades, a bit like in a shmup where you'd get multiple bullets and end up with bullets all over the screen. Those upgrade augments are heavily focused on improving your main combat attack. At any point, you can check your current loadout in the menu. This will show any of the pickups that you're currently with on that run, and you can also see in the bottom left of the screen those that you have activated. One of those will just take an amount of time before it replenishes, but the other ones, which are tied to your L and R buttons, you'll actually have to be doing damage to restore those. It's again a nice balance that takes elements from a few different roguelites that I've played in the past, but mixes things up enough to, in the same way as something like Doom, require the player to keep moving, keep doing damage, and thus in turn be able to do more damage yourself. Now, when you inevitably fall in combat, it will show you your total play time that run took. It'll be the amount of enemies that you killed, the gold that you gained, as well as all the goodies that you collected. It will also show you how much experience you gained within a particular weapon. So if you took out one of Lancelot's skills, you'll see at the bottom of the screen if upgrades are available, and then back in Camelot you can then spend some of that lovely gold to upgrade specific areas. I really like the idea of using a weapon more to improve that weapon more, rather than just gaining a specific currency that you'll be able to upgrade all of your weapons. It means you genuinely have to invest some time into them to be able to improve them. The final element are those titular giants. If you ever played a great little game called Jotun Valhalla Edition on Switch, these fights reminded me of those. You are a minuscule little speck on the screen at times, hacking and slashing, using all your skills and trying to dodge out the way of these huge area of effect abilities. They can be immensely satisfying, but don't do a great deal to make your attacks feel that powerful. It's like an ant chipping away at your heel. Now that being said, the fights are quite enjoyable, with multi-stages as their health bar drops, and the classic skin of your teeth moments where both of you have only a sliver of health and you're clawing your way towards victory. Visually, Knights vs Giants looks nice. It runs at 60 frames per second, and that's all important. The transitions between each area are loaded in real time. You don't move to a load screen, and I certainly salute the developers for trying that on Switch, as loading assets is always its biggest issue. With that said, you will notice a slight stutter between each area, but once you're in, they're generally fine. However, you will see a few stutters here and there, especially when there are a great deal of enemies on screen. It's nothing that I would class as bad, and in fact we've seen far worse games in that area that are still very fun. This one's in need of a small patch, but actually it runs really well. Artistically, I think the art style's nice enough. It has a varied colour palette. It does use that inverse kinematic art style to some degree, if you know what I mean. It's like we used to have on Flash animations, where you'd have a bone tool and you'd be able to rig up animated models. This is one of the better examples of that. Sometimes it can look quite cheap. And while the animations look smooth here, there are certain aspects of the backgrounds I like more than others. The actual hub area, I think it looks okay, and certainly as you improve it, it is nice to see those visual changes. But the star of the show visually are the different biomes. I love the amount of destructibility as well. It's one of those where you'll be rolling around after you defeated all the enemies, smashing up crates and boxes and getting lots of coins. It's just satisfying, isn't it? It's got a catchy soundtrack. It's not the most standout. There are some tribal tunes and other things going on, but for me, it's the voice acting that's really good.
It all began with that accursed ruinous artifact, the Holy Grail.
One of the characters sounds like Brian Blessed. When it comes to value, we've got so much competition on Switch at this point that there is a sweet spot for price. This one retails at £16.99 or your regional equivalent, and you're looking at just 962 megs. Unfortunately, as it stands, there isn't a physical available, but they've pitched that price just right really. Hades is 22 quid, but undoubtedly one of the goats. But then you've got Enter the Gungeon, which is just £10 and is also one of the goats. What I will say is the overall package offers good value. There's a lot of content in here, and fans will be well and truly down the rabbit hole before they know it. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about Knights vs Giants, the Broken Excalibur. It walks a well-trodden path within its genre and manages to stand out enough to be very enjoyable, and does quite a few things in terms of the scale of some of those fights to differentiate itself. The meta progression of building up your base can take quite a while, but I would always prefer to have that in there, as it gives a consistent, important reason for going out on those runs in the first place. If you're interested, I'll pop all the links down below and in the description so you can check it out. Thanks to the publisher for sponsoring this one. If you want to win a copy, as I say, leave a comment down below, tickle all the buttons, and we'll choose someone in the next day or so. If you didn't see it, we're giving away a Nintendo Switch OLED Zelda Edition, courtesy of someone who messaged me the other day and was like, hey, I'm a fan of SwitchUp. I want to buy one of these for Christmas. They actually did that last year as well, which is just unbelievable. So a massive thanks to that person. I know you want to remain anonymous, and I mean, that says even more about you, to be fair. Absolute legend. Thanks to all of you that enjoy the content. If you want to save yourself 10%, you can use code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg, our website, where we get a tiny little kickback from Nintendo and you save a bit of money on your eShop purchases. All that's left to say is a thanks to our Patreons, our members, and all of you that enjoy the content. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch Up. Cheers, guys. See ya!